Beyond the Echo Cavern by BreAnna Teschendorf, Chapter 28, A View with Promise. The children were now less afraid than they had been of what they imagined was before them. They had survived so much and triumphed so often that they had grown a new kind of confidence, which was beginning to take the place of fear in their hearts. Now, as they walked along, they no longer needed to be deadly silent and tense. And so they began to play a little game called When We Get Home. They would take it in turns to start the sentence, when we get home, and then finishing it with whatever their hearts desired most. The game had started when Gabe announced, "When we get home, I'm going to eat a whole truckload of beef stroganoff. When we get home, I'm going to call Layla and Ruby and tell them everything that happened," Annika had responded, trying to imagine what their response would be to the fantastic tale. "When we get home, I'm going to show these jewels to my brother Joe and see what he thinks of them," Charlie joined in, also envisioning what Joe's reaction to the fantastic stones would be. They continued on, and soon their pronouncements took a silly turn, and the game was created. The friends were laughing hysterically and interrupting each other to holler out their answers. Annika said, "When we get home, I'm going to wear my pants on my head and my sweatshirt on my legs and go to school like that." Gabe stated, "When we get home, I will ride my skateboard off the roof of my house onto the trampoline." Charlie added, "When we get home, I'm going to teach my dog to ballroom dance." The children were laughing so much and talking so loudly that they managed to walk a very long way and feel as if very little time had passed. They also failed to hear a strange rumbling in front of them, growing even louder. Charlie was just in the middle of another when he suddenly stopped short. In fact, they all stopped together because they were surprised by a new view. They completely forgot their game and never played it again. The tunnel that they were in opened up abruptly to another huge underground cavern. They found that they were standing high above the cavern floor on the mouth of a waterfall. The glowing yellow water they were walking beside emptied itself into the cavern below, directly into a hole where it disappeared unceremoniously, giving none of its benefits of light and healing to that dark place. Instead, the cavern was lit all around by torches that burned yellow and dim by comparison. "I don't understand how this water is a waterfall on both ends. It cannot run in two directions. Unless the source of the water was in the middle and it goes downhill both ways. That makes sense, kind of," Charlie reflected under his breath, mostly to himself. "I think we found the mine," Annika whispered. "You think?" Gabe echoed. "Sister, this is it. There are the children working, just like Kimnia said." Gabe pointed across the open space to a wall on the far side where several children were hammering, busy at work, and chiseling away at the side of the wall. It was impossible to see what they were mining, but all three children knew what it was: crystals, and if they were lucky, even more costly treasures. "How will we get down there?" Annika asked, looking with trepidation down the cliff wall before them. "I don't see any snakes," Charlie said slowly, taking in the whole huge cavern. "Or any witches," Gabe added. "Should we just march on down there and talk to those children?" Annika wondered. Now that the moment had come, she felt shy and uncertain. "Those aren't the children I came to rescue," Charlie whispered. "There are some that are trapped inside of a crystal. They are suffering. We need to find them. Don't you want to help these children too, Charlie? Annika whispered back, almost accusingly, thinking that maybe Charlie was unnecessarily complicating the situation. Well, yeah, of course. If they want to be rescued and need to be rescued, it is most important to me to find the ones Hoan showed me, the ones really trapped. Those kids aren't even being guarded, as far as I can tell. Why don't they just walk out? On this last sentence, his voice rose to its characteristic squeak, and one of the children mining turned and looked around, but he didn't look up high enough to spot the three tiny figures standing on top of the waterfall. Shh! Gabe and Annika unnecessarily shushed Charlie in unison. We're going to have to figure out how to get down from here, Charlie, Annika continued, when she was sure the children were not aware of their presence. We can't go back out that way because the healing moss is only on one side of the crystal. There must be another way. There must be, Charlie mumbled, and started chewing on his thumbnail as he gazed absently out into the cavern, thinking. Just then, the sound of a horn blasted loudly through the cavern, and from cracks in the walls near the mining children, two of the snakes slithered out and raised themselves up to an enormous height, or at any rate, taller than the little miners. They appeared to be talking to the kids, but from the distance Gabe, Annika, and Charlie couldn't make out what was being said. They could just catch the occasional hoarse whisper sound of the snake's strange hiss-talking and see the children facing them and making small movements. The snakes investigated a large crate standing beside the mining children and then pushed it away down another passage. I guess that's the gold that those children mined today, Charlie whispered. I wonder where they were taking it. Do you think they have a big treasure room full of piles of gold? Gabe asked, his voice full of wonder. Then the working children all put down their tools, turned, and with two snakes behind them, walked away down another crack in the wall that looked too small to be a tunnel. In a few moments, the cavern was empty and silent, except for the sound of the rushing water. Okay, let's go down and go into the first crack, the one where the snakes took the treasure. Charlie turned to face Gabe and Annika, his eyes glowing excitedly. What? Why? We should follow the children, Anna contradicted him. I think we should do what Charlie says, Annika. Gabe took her arm. I think the trapped children will be with the other crystal. Exactly, Charlie nodded at Gabe, showing his true change in character. For once, his mind was not only fixated on treasure for his own gain. He was honestly thinking of helping the others first. Okay, Annika yielded. How will we get down there then, mister? I noticed a big hole back there. Maybe we can sort of climb down it, pressing our feet on one side and our backs on the other, Gabe suggested seriously, as if thus risking a 40-foot drop was all in a day's work. What hole? Charlie demanded. This one. Gabe turned and showed him a large, dark, deep hole in the ground. I think it must come out down there. There's no way of knowing. What if we got to the bottom and it was just a hole? Annika was fearful as ever of a climb. Hey, we still have those glowing petals, Annika. What if we toss a few down there and see how deep it is? Charlie suggested, reaching into his pocket and pulling out the bag where he had put the petals to keep them dry during their swim. Great idea, Charlie, Gabe encouraged him. Bombs away, Charlie said exuberantly, taking 3 little petals in his fingers and flinging them down into the hole. To the children's surprise, the petals only fluttered down about 4 feet, where they landed on a large stone. The black hole continued on the other side of the stone, the side closest to the cavern, evidently leading towards the big room. See? See, Annika? It looks like we can jump down there, and then the hole turns outwards. It will lead us out. Gabe was triumphant. Well, let's try it and see before you get too excited. Annika continued to be negative. Bombs away again, Gabe exclaimed, jumping down the 4 feet easily and landing with a thud on the rock below. Look out, said Charlie, springing in after him. Okay, help me, said Annika. She sat down on the edge of the hole and then slid down as carefully as she could. Throw down some more petals to see where it goes, Charlie, Gabe commanded him. Charlie obeyed, and again, another 4 feet below them, the petals settled on another protruding stone ledge. Down, down we go, Gabe yelled, taking off again without further warning, not bothering to worry that the hole might come to an end, leaving them stranded with no way back up. Annika and Charlie followed him, trusting his resolve. Again, they tested the next jump with a couple of flower petals, found another landing a few feet down, jumped again, and then again, until they did indeed reach the bottom. They found themselves in a very narrow tunnel leading out to the cavern, which they squeezed through sideways. That's the end of chapter 28, and we don't have too far left to go in this book. So we'll see you, or you'll see me hopefully in the next chapter. God bless.